and then to really answer these well, you have to think, why would they give us the money in the first place, and what are they hoping to accomplish as a foundation by giving out this money? And you got to think, what's the region they're trying to affect? Are they trying to help educators? And does our program and our project that we're doing include that? So you got to think back to what they're wanting to see here. There's a lot of what are they wanting to see in it, which is similar to student writing, I have to admit. Right? You write to the professor, you write to the foundation. Sustainability of the project, other sources of funding, project budget, and this is a very, 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 very simple budget, believe it or not. Just a basic estimate, all things priced out, very simple, easy to add up, no math errors, all that good stuff. And the dreaded evaluation component. You've always got to, even, didn't your Lowe's grant ask for something? How are you going to tell if the project worked? Why would the people giving you money want you to explain that?
Because it's not just that they're giving you money and it just kind of floats off.
Yeah.
You know exactly whether or not you succeeded at what your goal was.
Yeah, and they're always, everybody's accountable to somebody until you hit God, right? So these funders are accountable to their board of trustees or their general public. You know, Walmart gives a grant, people want to know that they're putting their money in a good place because otherwise it makes Walmart look bad. And so they definitely want to see that you've thought this through sufficiently that there's a good likelihood that you can prove that their money did some good. Blah, blah, blah. And you can see there's just tons of hairy red tape. Cover letters, signed in blood, copy of the online application form, hand-delivered, mail, fax sheet, blah, 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 blah. Okay, this was a pretty easy grant to do. We've done this one many times, and probably in terms of hours to do one of these, including hours of meeting time with people to collaborate on getting an idea for the project, probably about 2 to 3 weeks of work, spread over a long period of time. Your observations on this one, any? About how it's different from other kinds of writing?
Very technical.
Yes.
Compared to what we're writing down here. Short answer, it's not drawn out.
It's not a Dr. Petite essay, as we say in the English.
It's not even quite an essay, it's more just like answering questions.
Mm-hmm. It's very to the point. And when you're up against those word limits, you're really trying to take out things like adjectives and adverbs that you don't have to have, to reduce the number of prepositional phrases. And so having some knowledge of grammar and being a good editor is extremely helpful there, and as well as being able to logically think of what has to be represented. Okay, let's look at a couple more. And I will make fewer comments on these two and just see what you observe. This is a 16-pager that was $250,000 a year for multiple years. And they didn't have all these stipulations. They didn't have an electronic form. So we had to come up with a format for this that made sense. And we didn't have anything to go on. We didn't have anybody else's to look at. So we made it up. I'll just kind of whiz through here. Purpose, setting, blah, blah, blah. Cost, faculty, description of the project, format, projections, key program areas, footnote, I think they gave us the big categories like the gray bars, but they didn't state all the other stuff. How we're going to measure, and then the beta for the person who would supervise it. Tell me some observations on the writing on this one.
Quite a few charts,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
a lot of charts and graphs, what?
Well, it's really easy to look at it and get the information from it.
It's a fast intake for the reader. It saves space, and when you write a grant where they say 50 pages and no more, the more you can cram into a 3-inch chart without having to write pages and pages about it, saves you space so you can write more content into the grant. So, yes. What else do you notice?
There's a lot of like headers for paragraphs and stuff so that they can look down and see like what paragraph they specifically want information from, whereas we don't do that in academic. We do transitions and make it more like a story.
Absolutely. This is skimmable, right? And it's also it's also navigable in that if there's a checklist the person is going by, they can find the part in the grant that goes with what they're looking for, and so hopefully your headings will match up to what they're looking for. What else?
Bullet points.
Yeah. Very direct, hard to mistake. Bump, 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 bump. Really more for business readers than literary type people or creative type people. I don't mean to imply that people at foundations are not creative.
They're not looking for creativity, they're looking for information.
Yes, information, exactly. I think the creativity is in the program you invent.
Yeah.
Right.
And you want to make it look good, and this one doesn't look real exciting. But it was, we had a couple months, if that, to do this, maybe 6 weeks, and it was real short. There was a lot of money involved, and why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you go for it? But not a lot of time to think out of the box and come up with color palettes, and illustrations. Just not time for that.